morning, everyone. Just wondering now why Brian's starting a fire in the shop, because that's where the sap is being stored. So he must have an intention to boil. Oh man. So this weather we're having continues to be strange. We are going to go out and collect sap this morning because it's currently misting. But a couple days ago we had a really hard freeze, and so there's still ice in the buckets, but we want to collect the sap that's in there because there's sap as well, and the ice can stay because it will help melt it, but it will also help to keep the sap that is flowing nice and cold. So yeah, and before it gets too messy, because if you look, you'll see in a minute when we go out there, but there's like hardly any snow left, even in the bush. So that does not bode well for maple syrup, which is totally fine. Like, it is what it is. It's just interesting to experience this kind of stuff. And now I'm kind of kicking myself for not keeping better records year over year. So I'm committing to that this year. I've started writing kind of like in my daily to do. It's kind of like my one-stop shop for keeping notes about stuff, even gardening and things like that. But I'm going to start recording how many taps we have, when we tapped, when the sap ran, etc. Because I think historically it'll be cool to look back. Also, that's one good thing about these videos, because I can look back and kind of see what we did last year. But yeah, so we threw those some taps in last night. Some extra ones. We have to fix some of the spiles because I can see that they're leaking a little bit. But yeah, they were running pretty good. So we're going to go in and collect the sap right now. And then just a couple of things. I know it's loud with the tractor running, but Brian had our pans fixed this year. So our pans had brass fittings between the fluted pan and the finishing pan, the front pan. So he had stainless fittings welded this year. So we have to test those today. Fingers crossed. We paid a lot of money to have it done, so hopefully those hold. I can't remember. I don't know. It's not. I can't remember. I don't know the name of the company where he had it done, so I'll mention them if it goes well. I won't mention them if it doesn't. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that upgrade this year. And then, like I said, we have another new tool that we're pretty excited about, but I'll wait till we get to that point. I don't want to spoil too much of Brian's fun, because he is really the leader of the charge in the maple syrup department. He is hardcore all the time. He watches hundreds of hours of maple syrup producing YouTube videos. So he's definitely the expert. I'm really just along for the ride and love it. And I think that's why I have so much fun, because I'm not as nuts as he is about maple syrup. One of us has to be. I have other passions. Okay, let's go grab some buckets and walk in, because I'm not sure what he's doing. Also, the birds have been off the charts. So many birds. Spring has sprung. Spring has 100% sprung. I have to prune my fruit trees. Yeah, the to-do list grows exponentially as soon as the snow is gone. I'm not looking forward to the mud. I have to say that. Hardcore. It's going to be gross.
You're just on that.
I'm on the...
Sometimes when you go in for a hot shower, you're like, I'll see in a week.
Taking them all. I'll get them stuck together, which is typical. This is hard to do. All right, here we go. Let's go. My knight in orange armor. Brian's just getting Clementine ready to pick up the sap tote. There's your frizz. Get it. Get the frizzy. Get it. What the heck? Come on, get it. Good girl. Let's go. Come on, he's coming. This is just, it's just so strange. And you know what's kind of cool that I think about a lot of the time? What it must have been like before we had this crazy technology to tell us what the weather was going to be 2 weeks in advance. It's just, yeah, it's crazy to think about the fact that, you know, of course, people got really good at and were very in tune with nature and weather patterns and reading the sky and clouds and animal behavior and all this cool stuff to help them determine kind of what the weather was going to be. But now with technology, we kind of know when hopefully the sap is going to run or when it won't. Hang on, I hope he brings a hammer. I'm gonna do a bring a hammer motion because those taps that we put in yesterday need a smack, just to seat the spile a little bit more. Lesson learned. Do not stack. I already know that when you stack these buckets together, they're hard to get apart. But once you've had sap in them, ugh, oh man, this is not. Here's one. Oh, and they're so wet. So I gotta get these undone before Brian comes because he's gonna give me a talking to about doing this. Hurry. Here he comes. Come on. Ugh. I'm gonna need him to help me, I think. If you guys know a trick for this, please tell me. There we go. Apply opposite pressure and twist. I've seen Brian use the air hose, but no air hose out here. So, oh yeah, yes, he won't even know. He is gonna wonder what's taken me so long though. Uh-oh. Tilly and her frisbee have disappeared. Never good. Never, never, never good. She hides it. She loses it in here. She doesn't lose it.
They've got a set hole and then they're loose.
We're about halfway. It's sprinkling a little bit. And we noticed that this is interesting. So if you have information, I'm interested. So the first day that we collected sap was right after we tapped and we got a good amount. And then we had that really hard freeze. And none of the taps that we had already put in were weeping. And then after that really hard freeze and now thaw, many of our taps are weeping. And I'm wondering if it's that freeze, like contract and thaw, then kind of creates an opening around the spile. So Brian's going around, and I tried to do some reading on this, whether you should or should not do this, because the theory is that you kind of cauterize with the drill, but we have a high helix for maple syrup just for tapping, but that the speed of the drill can sometimes like cauterize the vessels where the sap is running. So we'll see. But anyways, we're getting a good amount. A lot of the buckets are still frozen, like have frozen pucks, and I'm just leaving them in there for the refrigeration effect. Because this week is supposed to get really warm. So if we do collect and aren't able to boil, at least we can keep it cool until we collect it and put it in the shop. So that's kind of where we store it out of the sun. You don't want to store your sap in clear totes or buckets out in the sun. So it's got to be cold and dark until you can boil it. So yeah, I'm just going to move the tractor down the hill and collect. Oh, I have to go over that sketchy part. I do not like driving the tractor on slopes. It freaks me right out. Oh. So I'm gonna just go slow. And we got the green giant on the back, and that makes it super tricky because our trails are a little bit narrow in some spots just because I don't want to cut down big trees. So we'll see if we can keep the bark on all of them. Brian's gonna watch with close inspection. Okay, Tilly. All right. Our old tractor had a horn. And I would prefer that in this situation. Ugh. My little friends. Bring it down to his level. Okay, well, we're done collecting. We've got about probably 400 liters of sap, so I think we're gonna go for a boil maybe tomorrow, and by then we'll probably have more. We fixed all the taps, so we should be good there. I don't know if you can hear with the tractor in the background, but the birds are deafening. It's mostly goldfinches, a couple red-winged blackbirds, and grackles. I see some grackles, but mostly red-winged blackbirds and goldfinches. But it's awesome. It's time. I have to clean out the sugar shed. Do some snow removal, apparently. And then sweep and get stuff ready to boil. I think I just found my birthday present, but it's really not for me. Sometimes I find undisclosed items of purchase. Maybe this was why Brian was hesitant to allow me, or when I asked him if he wanted me to, he's like, no, don't worry about it, which is odd because he doesn't like to clean. But look what I found. It's probably gonna kill me. He had pan covers made. These are beautiful. Holy smokes. Look at that handle. That's amazing. Cool. Upon initial inspection, I don't see any rodent activity, but there's lots of stuff in here. This seems to be our, I guess, spring, summer catch-all. So I'm gonna have to clean some of this stuff out of here for sure. And then sweep it out and get things ready. We're ready. Nice and clean. Well, we're kind of getting the sugar shed ready. I think I'm gonna start to prune some of my trees. I don't think it's early. Usually around March, April is when I prune them, but I'm only gonna make some big cuts today, I think. This is my job and I still have a hard time doing it. Well, I only have a couple more trees to do. These ones that Like the ones that are closer into the field, they really get ravaged by the deer. So there's not a lot to prune, or I'm hesitant to prune too much because I don't want to stress them out too much. These are only in their 4th season, so got to take it easy a little bit. Anyways.
Okay folks, we're getting ready to do an initial test. We're just gonna pour some warm water into the pans, make sure none of the new fittings that we had welded up and clamps are holding water. We'll fill them up, let them sit for a while, and then we'll light it and see if any of the expansion and contraction in the welds and the TIG welds are gonna hold before we boil sap. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill it. It should probably take about 15 gallons to fill this for a test. So here we go. We'll let it flow backwards. I don't have to fill the drop flues at the back, but I can see now if anything will be dripping off any of the front pan ones before I add any more. Okay, so far so good. I'll go with another bucket. That'll fill the other side drop flues in the back pan. Maybe the last one I'll put in from the float box side and we'll give it a try. This is the part we had gotten a crossover pipe built and some proper milk clamp fittings installed. We had these old or tapered brass style that came originally with this evaporator. So we're trying to get away from brass and anything else other than stainless. So we had a local welding shop at Ashburn Metals, Chris at Ashburn Metals, go ahead and do some professional TIG welding to get this sealed up. So far so good. Stainless is pretty reliable when it comes to temperatures, obviously, being an evaporator pan. And then also we installed a milk clamp disconnect here at the back from the float box to the main rear pan. This just makes everything modular, and we can take this out possibly midway through the boiling season if we need to give the pans a little cleaning, get rid of some of the niter in the front pan and these 2 finishing pans up front. Sometimes has a tendency to build up, and that'll just allow us to break this down and get a good cleaning between boils, make it a little easier to do that so that we can get a better end product and for cleanup at the end.
All right, we're boiling. We filled up the pans and we're just waiting for our first boil. Hey y'all, I'm waiting for Brian to get home from work, but we've got 2 helpers this weekend. So Brian's mom and dad, Ron and Linda, are up. So they have headed out into the bush. We don't have a lot of sap. Brian collected quite a bit yesterday. But this year has been a very strange year for syrup. Just climate in general, the environment, the winter, the weather. It's been weird. So super grateful to get what we got so far. Definitely not the record-setting year like last year, but it is, you know, it's not bad. We'll have enough definitely to get us through the season or the year with some gifts. Definitely not as many gifts as last year, that's for sure, but that's okay. That is that's the nature of the beast. It's when you rely on trees and natural processes for your sustenance, that's you got to take it as it comes. So yeah, let's go out and get this sap. Could be the last collection. Next week is supposed to get really cold. Tomorrow we're supposed to get a dump of rain, 35 mils our forecast, which is not great. And really warm weather. I thought the sap would run today, but it really just didn't get cold enough last night. So anyways, here we go. It is what it is. Got Clementine and we're headed into the bush. We're emptying the buckets tonight because it's supposed to rain tonight and I don't want the buckets to fill with rain, and there's a good chance it's not going to run at all tomorrow, so I'll know that if there is any liquid in the buckets that it'll be mostly rain, so we can just dump those. Did you get that one way back in?
You went way down there? Yeah, I started and I come all the way up here. She said she did those. All these I'll go down the bottom. Over here.
I don't carry anything extra for the fly. Okay, that one's done, I take it. Yeah.
There's my SAT posse. Hard at work. Lots of good communication and teamwork. Ooh, they're funny. Better pay attention here. They got their steps in, so they're excited. Little team meeting. Making a plan. Here we go. Ronnie's going for it. It's pouring rain today. It's so windy. But I just wanted to show you what we do to manage rolling boil and for foaming over. So there are a lot of cool products out there that you can use for the foam, but we just use, show them Ron, we just use butter, and all you do is literally roll the little skewer in butter. You don't have a chunk of butter, you just roll it in and that's enough. And you just run it in on both sides of the pan, and that immediately knocks down the boil. And then all you do once you knock it down is use a little skimmer and get the gunk off the top. And that just kind of saves with the filtering. So there's a good shot of what the gunk looks like. And that just saves the filtering, makes your final product a little bit cleaner before you put it through the filter. So that's our process to keep the boil from boiling over and the gunk down. Well, it looks like this is going to be the last boil of the season for us. It was really short. We only boiled twice last weekend and this weekend, and it just seems like the trees are ready to flush, which is totally okay. So hope you had a great maple syrup season where you are. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.